Satnam, beautiful sovereign woman. I am Jyoti Ratjeep Kaur with VeronicaBerriganIam.com. And today on Sovereign Woman TV, we are going to be talking about four things you need to know and integrate today in regards to the great awakening that is happening in this world so you can proclaim yourself sovereign above all the BS and illusion of duality that is happening in today's world. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. And as always, thank you so much for liking and for subscribing to Sovereign Woman TV. As you know, I go live every single week with spiritual sovereignty videos to help you heal yourself, healing generations before and after, as well as Kundalini yoga meditations to truly help you integrate it all in this beautiful age of Aquarius. So, welcome and thank you so much for liking and for subscribing. So, we are going through a mass great awakening, in case you have noticed. And if you haven't noticed or been living under a rock, it may have to do with the fact that fear is playing a big role in your life. Now, great awakenings happen when all of a sudden the ego becomes threatened because the things that the ego used to control start to fall apart. Great awakenings happen when we start to realize or we start to that the universe is risky and scary, that our perfect little lives that fit in that perfect little box no longer fit. And so, right now, with everything that's happening in the world, there's a virus that is being perpetrated in the mind of humankind, right? There's so many different changes that are happening. I don't watch the news, and actually, the last 4 days, I took a serious media detox, social media, any type of media, because I don't know if you knew, but information is what's really creating the crashing of the nervous system. I did a video on that, which I'll link below in the description. But in essence, too much information and not having a daily process of detoxifying the brain, the nervous system from all the information is what crashes your system, which then creates depression in the age of Aquarius. And so during this time when we're being bombarded by all this information, while at the same time everything is crumbling, and I'm talking about that everything completely will be changed by the end of this year, will be unrecognizable. And so because of that, you have a lot of uncertainty, which is then creating a lot of mental health instabilities. And further things that are happening right now, which really for me give me a lot of hope and faith, because I truly do believe that more and more people are calling BS where it needs to be called. And because of this mass awakening, things like 5G, which I did a whole video on, and I'll link the description in the description below, but how this technology, in essence, is affecting our electromagnetic field as human beings, and how our DNA right now is working really, really hard to try to stay up to these changes, right? And how some people are simply not going to be able to make it to this next evolution of human kind or human civilization because of this technology, right? And because we're not being smart and intelligent and using technology that doesn't abuse and rape Mother Nature herself, right? So there's all this 5G information out and all this stuff that's going around because of this virus that's creating, this uncertainty and fear. And there's information going around about this nerd, a technology nerd, who wants to immunize the entire world, even though he's been known to actually support depopulation. And there's people that are putting a toxic something that from the outside world inside of you is not the solution, and that's why we're here again, time after time, basically being done by the deep state to basically take away our rights as human beings, right? There's information out right now about how Google and Apple plan to track people with the virus. Like, thank you so much, but no thank you. Like, how do I know you're telling me the truth? And even moving into or going into a doctor or a hospital, especially right now, how do I know that you're telling me the truth about what you think I say I have? So there's a lot of like uncertainty, there's a lot of gaslighting, there's a lot of, who do I trust? Which is why it's so important more than ever for you to be able to, in a present moment awareness and also fully alert and sovereign, to be able to participate in this great awakening that is happening and to not allow all this illusion of fear, the duality of Maya, which is what we're born into in this incarnation, to not allow that to take your sovereignty from you. This is why Sovereign Woman even exists and why Satori, my virtual wellness community for women to help them take their sovereignty back, even exists because the methods of how we are being robbed from our sovereignty have become so elaborate and so modern that many people are not realizing what's happening here day to day. So even with all of this media showing you all this negativity, and even with me sharing these things that could perhaps cause fear in you, there are certain things that you need to know, which are the four things I want to share with you today, that you need to know in order to put yourself in your own timeline. Allow yourself to be in this world, but not of it. Allow yourself to be a sovereign woman. These are things that I know above the fear and above all the things that are trying to distract you from you fulfilling your dharma, your life purpose. Because the only way to truly respond to fear, the only way to truly respond to the duality of whatever is trying to stop you is by actually moving forward, connecting within, and fulfilling your life purpose. We're a human society, we're civilization that because we want it all to be done, why you have China who has basically said that they're going to be the leading in artificial intelligence in the next 5 years, and who gets the first part of the virus? They do, because they don't think about the human heart, human civilization as an actual consciousness. It's basically a way to make money, right? But there are certain things that you can do to put yourself in your timeline that you need to know right now, so that you're not participating in this sleep stage anymore, and you're actually participating in the great awakening. And I'll share with you with those with is that we must understand that the fear that is happening right now is playing out on our deepest traumas. And I did an entire video on inner child trauma and how that plays out in your life, but also ancestral karma and ancestral trauma for the things that they went through thousands of years ago that actually live as cellular memories in our body. And so, with all this stuff that's happening in the world, I mean, in the movie, they literally went and committed suicide. And think about what's happening right now in the world. There's so much fear. We have mass suicides. We've had mass suicides that no one wants to talk about, right? And the reason is because through the biochemical weapon of the mind, we can, through fear, they can play out on your traumas and make them come out to the point where you're completely mentally unstable. This is why unstable. This is why I say this is not the time to press pause on your own personal healing journey. This is not the time to basically accept that the world is as crazy, although we do live in a mental institution, but to understand that there's hope for humanity and that we are moving in the right direction. Because I know that if human beings like me that came from a total just masculine trying to accumulate material wealth, that was my whole purpose back in the day. If I could change, that means a lot of people in this world could change or have changed. So the key here is to understand your own personal trauma, to not press the stop button on your personal healing, and to understand that you can very much self heal yourself. And that's the second thing you need to know. First thing is trauma's coming up. You need to deal with it and understand that it's being perpetrated by the collective consciousness and the fear that's happening. And you need to know moving forward in the age of Aquarius is that the medicine cabinet that you are looking for is within. Ancient yogis, ancient gurus, all masters have taught us that, first of all, healing starts with healing the root cause. And that's what holistic healing is. That's exactly what my whole life purpose surrounds. It's really about understanding that if you understood the science of energy and as it relates to your body, your mind, and your spirit, that you would go within and that you would learn to open up that medicine cabinet that lies within you and get to the root cause, the emotional root cause of why you're feeling the trauma, and that you yourself can self heal. I did it, so can you. I'm not better than someone else. I just integrate it. I discipline myself because my new version of me that I saw was way more important than those old stories that I continue to tell myself. So you're going to see with the healthcare systems, because, you know, technology can help tremendously in being able to detect, what type of illnesses. Artificial intelligence can detect what type of illnesses you may have. There's robots that can do operations. That's where artificial intelligence, we need to train and make sure that their intentions, because they learn from whatever we show them, right? So they can also learn negative things as well as positive things. This is why it's still important for you to participate in social media in a way where you're helping AI learn. I'll do a whole other video on that. But the whole medical system is going to change where really, if you think about it, doctors right now, they don't treat patients, they treat patients like a number. They don't treat them like a human being. They basically see so many people a day, and then based on what everyone else went through, they give you a prognosis and a way to heal it. And that's exactly what's killing people day after day. So the healthcare system is gonna have to change, where doctors and nurses are gonna have to become they're gonna have to care about human beings. They're gonna have to become healers. They're empathetic, right? Not just treat being as a number, so that they together can get to the root cause of what's causing this instability, and not have to give a pill that then they have to be on for the rest of their lives, that then creates even more illnesses in the future. Like, it's a complete definition of insanity. So the second thing you need to know moving forward in the age of Aquarius to be sovereign is that all the medicine you're looking for is within, and that there is a way for you to self heal, and that there's many methods for you to actually integrate this in your life today. The third thing that we're all going to have to, and I almost lost it here because it's just so important and my thoughts are everywhere, but the neutral mind is the level of a sovereign woman, of a master, a great yogi, Jesus Christ, Buddha, Krishna, anybody who you can talk about still today that has left a legacy. And as human beings, when we think about even social media, you're on social media and you're thinking, like, or should I not like? Or you're now even on Facebook, you can even put angry faces and all these different things. So when you're on social media and this whole world, in essence, is just training you to activate the judgmental mind. Good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. What we don't understand is that a true master that controls her mind actually is able to live in the neutral mind, so that when adversity does happen, they're able to respond in equanimity. The ego, I believe, as a human species, we are outgrowing our ego because we're actually integrating incredible practices like meditation practices in our life. We are understanding healing techniques that allow us to heal even ancestor karma. So, because of this, the ego, which is our programming in essence, is no longer needed as a human species. So, I do believe that in the age of Aquarius and in the golden age, which many of our spiritual traditions have spoken about, we will become a civilization that no longer needs to live in the judgmental mind, and that can live in sovereignty is through a very deep daily meditation practice. Through the ability of stabilizing your nervous system, what you're able to do is you're able to not be so reactive. You're also able to heal specific areas in the brain, like the amygdala. I did a whole video on this, which I'll link the description below. But the amygdala is this little gland in your brain that controls the fight and flight response. And when you're someone that has been through a lot of trauma and you don't do the daily inner work to actually bring energy to this part of the brain, you're constantly reacting and thinking you're reliving that trauma over and over again. And now, because we have access to the information and the wise ancient healing teachings, which I did a whole journey on and studying all the spiritual traditions of the world. And it wasn't until Kundalini Yoga came into my life that I really started to understand what it meant to truly live in the neutral mind. You know, what we're living right now is the new normal. I mean, I wish I could tell you that as a meditator, my life became perfect and I no longer had to deal with adversity or what I deemed as adversity. But the truth is that we are spiritual warriors as sovereign women, especially in this world. And what we're here to do is to become one with ourselves, meaning we're going even beyond the duality and illusion of Maya, of fear. And the only way we can do that is by being more in our neutral mind, being more in our heart, which doesn't judge, which learns to accept. Being in the heart and the neutral mind has nothing to do with weakness and has everything to do with strength. So, this is something that as a human civilization we are learning. And the faster you can jump on this bandwagon of understanding the minds and understanding how to live in the neutral mind, the faster you'll become sovereign and be able to transcend these very epic changing times. And the fourth thing you need to know that's very important in the age of Aquarius and learning how to transcend the ego and learning how to be a sovereign woman in the age of Aquarius, in the golden age, is that you are very much protected and you're guarded right now. This is not so hard to understand if you're someone that already follows the natural cycles of Gaia, if you're connected to Earth herself. Also, if you follow the astros, JP Morgan Chase was quoted as saying, millionaires don't study astrology, only billionaires do. And so what that means is that the 1%, the deep state, they've been using esoteric practices. They've been using astrology. They've been using meditation. They've been using Kundalini practices for a long time, for thousands of years. And they dumbed it down for people like you and I because they don't want everyone else to actually integrate and use these practices in their life. They don't want you to have a connection with yourself. They don't want you to have a connection with your guides, with the ancestors that are here. Right now, because we're everything has changed in frequency, the veil is very, very thin. And next week I'll be talking about the different type of ancestors that are here to help you and how to connect to your guides. But understand that there is quantum potential. I left an industry. I was a real estate broker. I owned my own business for more than 15 years, top of my game, very comfortable money wise, insurance in my comfort zone, right? Yet my soul, I was dying inside. I was paying a big price for that comfort, right? And all of it was because I wasn't trusting myself and I wasn't trusting the quantum possibilities. And when I started to become a student of the astros, of the cosmos, of astrology specifically, I started making some big life changing decisions, especially last year. That now, here looking back, I'm like, wow, if I wouldn't have followed the astros and my intuition, I would have been in such a bad position financially, spiritually, with everything that's happening, that every day I'm just like super grateful to my guides. And every day I'm just super grateful to the ability of quantum possibilities that could happen and how to control things. They got to be perfect. That the age of Aquarius is all about trusting into a higher consciousness, trusting higher source, trusting God, mother, whatever you connect with, right? It has nothing to do with religion, because when you start to live this way, you start to realize that ultimately you really don't have control. You're given this life and you're given this body temple and this incarnation, and it's up to you what you did with it. You do have free will, but we forget, that in the age of Aquarius, it's about eliminating the illusion of separation. It's about truly accepting the atonement and understanding that we are guarded and protected. And just think about your life. I want you to think something in the past that maybe happened that was a miracle, that that you absolutely know that it was God or higher consciousness playing her part in your life. And all of us have those moments, but we forget about them. Synchronicities happen to us every single day, and yet we just shrug them off as if they're not important. That your own self experience, your own intuition, your own connection to your guides is going to be the most powerful aspect of being a human being in this world. So if you can get these four things down, which start with number one, understand your traumas are going to be coming up big time, and this is not a time for you to press pause on your self healing. Number two, understand that self healing is real and that the medicine cabinet you're seeking is actually right here. Number three, understanding also that we can live in the neutral mind, that biophysically we can do the inner work to let go of this judgmental, negative, and positive so that our ego doesn't get inflated when things happen, and our ego also doesn't get deflated when bad things happen. And number four, understanding that you are protected, that you're guided right now, that there are our ancestors are here with the veil very thin to help us, and that you yourself can connect to this guidance so that you can learn how to transcend and proclaim your sovereignty above the chaos, above the illusion of all of your trauma. That's the biggest thing. Because we do carry all of this trauma from our ancestors and from our own life here, the most important thing to realize is that you have the power to self-heal, and you can yourself move into this next evolutionary cycle of humanity completely sovereign and in a whole new frequency. It's possible for you. If I did it, you can do it too. So those are the four things for. Thanks for joining live, by the way. Thanks for those that share these videos and that are integrating this work. I highly, highly appreciate it. And the biggest reason is because when you raise your frequency, the whole frequency of this world changes. So beyond trying to save the world, it's really about looking at what's going on right now. Starts right here, then it's that and continues in your home. Is there peace in your home? Or do you need to set boundaries? Is this time for you to start brand new in some areas? And then you can really start to focus on how you're going to help the world. You start with yourself, start with your home, and then you take it into the world. That's exactly how it works. We can no longer be the unhealed healer, because in the age of Aquarius, transparency is at its high. They're trying to make you wear a mask so that your ego is hidden. Why? Because in the age of Aquarius, we can read frequency, we can read energy. The charlatans, that's why so many people, all these things are being exposed, because no longer will you be put into these trances as easily, especially if you are a meditator. So take special note about these four things I mentioned today, and more importantly, integrate them in your life. We can have all this information, but if we're not integrating and actually practicing in our daily lives, then nothing for us will change. It starts within and then it changes without. So thanks again once for joining me here today live. And thanks again for those that subscribe and like. Highly, highly appreciate it. And please do comment below. Let me know how you're doing energetically. How's your frequency? How are you feeling these four things that I shared with you today? Are you practicing them and are you integrating them in your life? Or are you allowing yourself to be put in a timeline, old timeline, a patriarchal timeline of fear and of giving your power away to someone else? It's up to you. We all have free will and we all have the ability to do whatever we want with our lives. As always, thanks again for liking and subscribing. I did create a wait list for Satori. Satori is my virtual women's society and wellness center where I teach live Kundalini yoga classes, meditation classes, mentorship classes for sovereignty and leadership for the age of Aquarius. We have a Course in Miracles study group, special guests like integrative medicine doctors, holistic practitioners. Click on the link below in the description and you can join the wait list. Doors will be opening again for the first time ever in 2020 here very soon. I'm excited to bring on board many other beautiful sovereign women who are ready to shift the frequency with me of this world and who are ready to live sovereign lives. So you can click on the link below. You'll be added to that wait list and you'll be the first one to get notified when we do go live. Again, thank you once again for being part of this beautiful community. Sending you all so much love and so much energy of sovereignty. We will overcome this, and you will be looking back one day, I promise you, and saying how these were the most important days of your life. Sat Nam and Namaste.